Have you ever stopped to notice the exact moment when your dog reacts to a specific word you said? Not a whistle, not a hand gesture, not a sudden change in the tone of your voice. Just the word, just the sound coming out of your mouth in the middle of an ordinary conversation, in the middle of any given afternoon. And suddenly, his head tilts to the side, his ears lift like antennas tuning into a frequency, and his eyes lock onto yours with an intensity that seems to say, "I heard you." It seems like magic. It feels like chance, but it is neither. What happens in that exact second is one of the most fascinating phenomena that neuroscience has begun to uncover about the relationship between humans and dogs. And the answer to what is happening inside him in that moment will completely change the way you speak to your dog from today onward. Popular belief says that dogs are experts at association. You say walk, and he gets excited because he has learned that this sound comes before the leash, the door, the street, the movement. Stimulus, response, reward. It seems enough to explain everything. But that view leaves out a layer of complexity that science can no longer ignore. Because if it were only mechanical association, only Pavlovian conditioning, then any word spoken in the same tone would produce the same effect. And it doesn't. Something deeper is happening. Something that begins in your dog's brain and ends in a surprising way in your own heart. Researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest conducted one of the most revealing studies on canine language processing. Using functional magnetic resonance imaging on dogs trained to remain completely still inside the scanner, they discovered something that turned the field of animal cognition upside down. Dogs process vocabulary and intonation in different brain hemispheres, exactly as humans do. The left hemisphere analyzes the content of the word, its actual meaning. The right hemisphere analyzes the way it was spoken, the musicality, the emotional intention. And most impressively, the canine brain's reward center is only fully activated when those two things align. When the right word is spoken in the right way. This means that your dog is not just hearing you, he is interpreting you. And if you didn't know this yet, it's very likely that you're missing daily opportunities to connect with him on a much deeper level than you imagine. If this kind of information resonates with you, if you are the kind of owner who wants to understand what happens inside your dog's mind, just what he does on the outside, then it is definitely worth subscribing to this channel right now. Here, we don't talk about canine behavior in a superficial way. We dive into psychology, neuroscience, and the real bond between humans and dogs. A dog does not live in the past. He does not plan the future the way you do. He exists in a continuous present, in a constant state of reading the environment, monitoring stimuli, and evaluating threats and opportunities. The first category of words that science has validated is the one that names identities. The name of a favorite toy, the name of a family member, the name of another animal in the house. Studies with a border collie named Chaser, conducted by researcher John W. Pilley, showed that dogs are capable of learning and retaining the names of hundreds of distinct objects, associating each sound with a specific mental representation of that object. In fact, Chaser learned the names of more than 1,000 objects over a 3-year period. It is not empty memorization, it is cognitive mapping. When you say the name of something your dog knows, his brain is not searching for an automated behavior. He evokes an image, an internal representation of that object or that person. It is the word functioning as an identity, as a neural shortcut to a concrete reality that your dog is able to imagine even before seeing it. The second category is the one that perhaps has the quietest yet most powerful impact on your dog's emotional health. The words that mark state transitions, words that signal the end of an activity, the beginning of a moment of rest, and the completion of a task. For an animal that exists in a constant state of alertness, a clear word that says, "It's over, you can rest," or "That's enough," works as a direct regulator of the autonomic nervous system. Cortisol levels, the stress hormone, measurably decrease when the dog receives a clear verbal signal that it no longer needs to monitor the environment. He stops watching the door, stops checking your face every 30 seconds, stops calculating. He breathes, and this ability to offer your dog psychological rest through a single word is something most owners never realize they have, but they do, and they can use it every single day. The third category enters the territory of pure social bonding. Words of validation, approval, and recognition. And here, The studies from Budapest return with a deeply moving revelation. The reward center of the canine brain is activated by these words, not because they promise food, not because they announce a walk, but simply because they represent approval from the leader, from the human whom the dog recognizes as the axis of safety in its existence. When you say very good or good boy with the right intonation and after a real behavior, you are not just praising him. You are telling him, in a language the canine brain understands, that he belongs, that he is doing it right, that his place by your side is secure. And from the perspective of the evolutionary psychology of a highly social animal like the dog, this is one of the most important pieces of information he can receive. The fourth category enters territory that challenges even the most skeptical minds because it deals with words charged with the owner's emotional state. Words you say in moments of vulnerability, genuine tenderness, and real connection. Science has already mapped that during affectionate interactions between humans and dogs, there is a mutual and synchronized release of oxytocin, the social bonding hormone in both organisms. What the most recent studies are beginning to suggest is that this release does not depend only on touch or eye contact. A voice charged with genuine emotion also triggers the process. Your dog may not understand the letters in the word love, but he reads the physiological signature that this word carries when you truly say it, the subtle dilation of your pupils, the change in your breathing, the relaxation of your facial muscles, and the slightest variation in the frequency of your voice. He reads all of this in milliseconds and responds to that internal state with his own internal state. It is a biological synchrony that human language is, in a way, capable of initiating. When you bring all four of these categories together and begin to understand what they truly represent, the realization that emerges is powerful and a little unsettling. Because it reveals that throughout all these years living with your dog, you have been communicating in ways far deeper than you ever knew. Every word spoken with genuine intention, every name said in a moment of tenderness, every good boy given after a real effort was building something inside his brain. An architecture of safety, a map of trust, an internal structure that organizes his world around your presence as something stable, something safe, something that makes sense. And the opposite is also true. When communication is inconsistent, when words are spoken without real intention, when his name is called only in moments of correction or frustration, what is built instead is an architecture of unpredictability. And unpredictability, for an animal that lives in the present and depends on predictability to feel safe, becomes a constant source of low-level anxiety. Something that is never named, never recognized as a problem, yet silently erodes the quality of the bond over time. Speaking to your dog is not anthropomorphism. It is not naivety. It is not you projecting humanity onto an animal that does not possess it. It is a form of interspecies empathy that science is now able to measure, record, and validate. The 5 categories of words we explored here are not a list of commands to be memorized. They are invitations for you to refine the awareness with which you use your voice in the presence of your animal. They are reminders that he is always listening, always interpreting, always building an internal response to what you project into the world. A dog that understands is a dog that trusts. And a dog that trusts offers a kind of loyalty that cannot be taught, bought, or forced. It simply emerges naturally when the human on the other side chooses to honor the depth of what is being offered. Share this video with someone who has a dog and still thinks he doesn't understand anything. Because perhaps he understands far more than we ever imagined.